Hi, this is Ann with Finance on the Offense, and today I'm going to go over emergency funds, what it is, and whether or not you need one. All right, let's get started. Now, it really doesn't matter if you have high income or low income. Really, everyone needs an emergency fund. Of course, it's going to be much harder to save in an emergency fund if you are low income and you're trying to just get by. But if you are able to save money in an emergency fund, it will definitely come in handy. It could keep you out of debt or potentially change like a crisis situation into something that is not fun, but it's doable. Some examples that come to mind are medical expenses, car repairs, home appliance replacements, and things like that, even a job loss. So what is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's an account with money in it that should only be touched for emergencies. So let's say the transmission goes out on your car. Instead of going into debt to fix it, you can reach into that emergency fund, take the money, pay for a new transmission, and then over time, work to replenish your emergency fund. Now, how much should you have in your emergency fund? There are a few different opinions on this. Dave Ramsey says that we should have $1,000 in an emergency fund, sort of a starter emergency fund, and then after you pay off all your debt, you should have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. And by 3 to 6 month emergency fund, that is talking about expenses. So all of your expenses for 3 months. Most finance professionals agree that 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in an emergency fund is the way to go. Now, if you don't know what 3 to 6 months of expenses comes to, you can just track maybe the next month and see how much you spend in that whole month, and then of course multiply it by 3 or 6. Let's just say 1 month's expenses are $4,000. So in that case, you would need $12,000 to $24,000 in an emergency fund account. So why do you need so much money? $12,000 to $24,000 sounds like a ton, doesn't it? The main reason to keep this much money in an emergency fund is if you lose your job. That way you don't have to freak out about finding a new job. You can take your time and find something you really want, and you have 3 to 6 months to do that. A lot of times, especially during the last recession, people were taking 6 months to a year to find a new job. So an emergency fund would definitely help with that. So where should you keep your emergency fund? The best place to keep an emergency fund, in my opinion, is a high yield savings account, separate from other accounts you use. I like to make saving in an emergency fund automatic. So every month, every paycheck, it pulls a certain amount from my other account into the emergency fund account. If you get your paycheck by direct deposit, you can have your employer automatically set it up to be siphoned into these accounts. This is in most cases. Now, as far as what specific bank accounts are best for emergency funds, I'm going to make a video soon about which ones I think are pretty good. And that will be in the description below if it's already made by the time you see this video. Now, once you get the 3 to 6 months expenses saved up in your emergency fund, you can turn off your automatic transfers to the account, and you can use your extra money and invest it in a different way. And then if you have an emergency, you have that money. You can pull it out and then over time turn on your transfers again and build it back up to where it was. All right, if you like this video, please click on the like button, and I'll see you next week with another Finance on the Offense video. Thank you.